Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Before we get into the decode today, we need to pray for the people of Oklahoma. There's been an outbreak of tornadoes. Let's take a look at some of this footage. This is crazy.
Shelby, good morning. Those strong winds and tornadoes touching down here in Cleveland County, and we are right now in a neighborhood in Norman that's just off of Highway 9. And just take a look at what we're seeing. This is some of the worst damage that we've seen since we've been in Norman this morning. You immediately see that car there right on its hood, just laying across onto that home, and then several other cars just littered on the lawns out there. If you go over to that home, you see the roof there where you can see all of the wood, the paneling and tarp that was brought off from that storm last night. What we have learned from officials here in Norman this morning is that they've reported at least 12 weather-related incidents and injuries here following last night's storm. We did get a chance to speak to a homeowner who told us what this experience was like last night.
Wow, unbelievable.
All right, so again, Norman officials confirming at least 12 weather-related injuries. They said none of the injuries are critical and they have no reported fatalities at this time. Several roads here in Norman shut down last night due to those down power lines. I can tell you, driving here from Oklahoma City, I didn't have any problems getting to this neighborhood, but there are definitely still some roads that are blocked off this morning. Now, the extent of the damage, officials say they won't likely know that until daylight. And just with these lights here, we're able to see, again, one of the hardest hit neighborhoods from last night's storm. We do know that Norman has set up a shelter for anyone in need, that at 12th Avenue Recreation Center. The address for that is 1701 12th Avenue Northeast. And we do know that officials here in Norman, they have an intent to talk to press this morning at around 9 a.m. So, of course, KOCO will bring you the latest updates as soon as we get some.
So, fortunately, nobody died, but there were lots of injuries. 7 confirmed tornadoes in Oklahoma. This was last night for those of you that are just tuning in. Let's see, what does this say here? Let's see what this one says.
Yeah, and one of the good things also is we haven't heard of any injuries, which is fantastic. But I did want to speak with someone who lives here, and this is George Reich. And George, I know you were at home when the tornado hit. Tell me about what you heard and what you experienced.
A lot of real strong wind. I was standing out in the garage. My wife went to the neighbors to get in a shelter. Wood and debris started flying and hitting things, so I jumped in the back seat of a car in the garage real quick, but it didn't last very long, but thank goodness everybody's okay.
Now, this ain't your first rodeo, is what I'm hearing, right? Jessica actually interviewed you when a whole different situation. Tell us about that.
Wildfire in Edmond that burned our house to the ground,
Oh,
and
boy.
several others.
You feel like you got a bullseye on your back or something?
Kind of.
Have you talked to any of your neighbors? Everybody okay from what
Yes,
you've heard?
everybody's okay. They were real good. Everybody went around checking on everybody.
George, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll be.
So these are just some videos from the damage. That guy obviously had been through some of this stuff from before. Here's some more footage here.
Well, Jess, we're actually right near the Cheyenne Cemetery. We're not going to show you, just we want to be respectful of the site. But there's it's really sad seeing there's a few grave sites, stuff like that, kind of messed up from this tornado. Now, what we have behind me is what looks like the roof of a building, some sheet metal, maybe some poles from across the street. We see kind of a messed up area. We're not going to show you that. It's kind of hard to see, but we're right next to some down power lines as well. And if you look, they took out some trees. We're going to show you that too. All that sheet metal, just multiple trees, one completely splintered there in the middle. We also got a chance to talk to emergency management here in Roger Mills County. The man we spoke to, we couldn't confirm or deny any deaths or injuries or anything like that. We have been talking to locals in the area, and multiple people have told us about a couple that was injured and taken to the hospital. We're not sure about the status of that or anything, but we're going to keep trying to get more on the people out here. Now, the emergency management did tell us that there was search and rescue earlier, but
So this is what's going on in Oklahoma. So prayers for the people in Oklahoma. Here's, I guess, some more footage here. This is from Norman as well.
Yeah, guys, we're on Frost Lane right now in that same neighborhood near State Highway 9 and 24th Avenue Southeast. Now, I'm here with the homeowner, Frances, and she was trapped inside with her kids. You can see just all the damage to the home here. And Frances, we just want you to tell your story. Tell us, what did you experience?
Well, we had kind of lost power, and so I was looking for a weather channel because I knew that there was some wind coming into Norman.
She's got a cut on her head.
Before I can even blink, I could hear the wind coming. All of a sudden, all the back windows where the kids' bedrooms are, I could hear them just crashing, busting out. And I got up, and then the wind just threw me back, and I'm screaming. It was like a blizzard inside the house with all the debris flying, and I was screaming for my kids, because they were in their bedrooms. I didn't know if they were hurt or anything, but I was able to get back to them. And then we huddled in the hallway as the wind's still kind of blowing, but my daughter's still kind of trapped in one of the bedrooms. And so we got through the door there, and we got her out and got there, and we were like, stay calm, stay right here in the hallway. And so we did until it kind of passed, and then we realized like the whole roof is gone, walls, the boards, the whatever all that stuff is just all around us. And so I called to get someone to kind of try to help us get out of there because we were trapped back there in the back. And it took a little while. Then the fire guys came, and they told us we had to get out because gas was leaking now in the house. And so we were able to get.
So I'll put a link to this. This has pretty much all the updates of everything that happened, because we don't want to we came here to do a show today, but I just wanted to let you guys know that people are suffering in Oklahoma, and there is some damage. People have lost their property and everything. So very, very sad. I know there's been worse, but until it happens to you, it doesn't seem like such a big deal, right? So I'm a strong believer that the compassion that we have for other people, God will, it's all about love, right? And the more love and compassion and thoughts and prayers that we have for other people, God blesses us as well in our lives, and we have levels of protection through that love, because that's what Jesus came to do, right? He came to spread love, and we're supposed to be concerned about each other, not just go, oh, whatever, crazy. Good morning, everybody. Let's get into a couple of episodes updates that I have for you guys today. First one we're going to look at is an X-Files episode called Firewalker from 1994, and it's about a silicon-based fungus that's born out of a volcano. We're going to look at that today. We're also going to look at the newest episode of the series Servant, and it's, of course, about a cult nanny. So let's break down this episode of Firewalker first. Now, we've been on the trail of these episodes of X-Files that have to deal specifically with fungus. The reason why we're focusing on fungus is because about a year ago, fungus came onto our radar, funguses and molds. This was on the heels of the CDC announcement that this would be the next kind of worldwide thing that we would have to deal with. They said they named funguses and molds as the newest enemy. They tried to say that it was because of COVID. They tried to say that people that got COVID had lowered immune systems and therefore were susceptible to funguses and molds. But we have our own theories about the true reason as to why this is happening, don't we? So a couple of you said, hey, take a look at these episodes of X-Files that have to deal specifically with funguses and molds. And so Firewalker is one of those episodes that we're going to talk about today. Let's take a look at this. This was 1994.
Doesn't that suggest a silicon-based life form?
But the fundamental building block for every organism known to man is carbon.
What does this say?
It describes the metabolism from hydrogen sulfide into silicon dioxide.
Wow. So did you hear that? Hydrogen sulfide to silicon dioxide. Now, let me give you the backdrop of this episode. Discovered a new life form inside the volcano, but then they all disappeared. So Scully and Mulder show up to investigate. And when she said hydrogen sulfide, alarm bells went off. Because the EPA was monitoring the appearance of hydrogen sulfide, the very same chemical after the train disaster in Ohio. Now, what are the odds of these two of these things being related? Now, this was early on, February 13th, right after a Super Bowl, right before Lupercalia, EPA screening homes near Ohio train derailment. Remember, they were saying there was no detections of anything, nothing to worry about. But one of the things that they were looking for, it was hydrogen sulfide, the very same chemical mentioned in a fungal episode of the X-Files. Now here's the weird thing. Hydrogen sulfide is used to kill aspergillus on crops, according to this story, according to this study here. This is unbelievable. There is now a connection between funguses and molds and what blew up and burned up from the train disaster. I'll put links to all this, the pinned comment, of course, like I always do. But this is bizarre, isn't it? Let me go back in the chat, make sure you guys are with me, and we will keep going with this. Hydrogen sulfide used to kill funguses on fruits and vegetables after they are, before they go to market, so that they don't mold as fast. So, as I said, X-Files episode, a group of scientists working on discovering a new life form inside of a volcano. They come across this fungus. The scientists then all become infected, but Scully and Mulder don't figure that out until a fungus spore pops out of one of the scientists' chest.
Dioxide.
A silicon-based life form in the deep biosphere has been one of the holy grails of modern science, and maybe Trepkos found it.
Mulder, that is science fiction.
Yes, but silicon is the closest element to carbon. It reacts almost identically with other elements, the way it combines to form complex molecules.
It's some elaborate construct from a delusional mind. This doesn't prove anything.
Then we get our first clue connecting this episode to a different TV series called The Rest of Us. Or The Last of Us, I think it's called. The fungus affects the nervous system, causing psychosis. Watch and listen.
It appears to be some kind of a fungus.
Anything you recognize?
Oh, I'm not a botanist, but I think it's fair to guess that it's an unknown genus.
What is it, Scully? What are we dealing with?
Without better imaging equipment, I can't say for sure.
I'll take any theory you've got.
It appears as if one of the spores grew inside of Tanaka until it reached reproductive maturity, essentially outgrowing its host.
What am I looking at here?
Spores. I scraped them off the tip of the fungus.
You found sand in its lungs? Silicon dioxide, the waste product of a silicon-based organism.
But by then it had already caused massive tissue damage, particularly to the respiratory tract.
That would account for the sand in his lungs.
The spore could explain Trepkos' dementia. Fungi often contain alkaloids that can affect the nervous system.
Yeah, but well, what about us? How many times do you have to kill him?
So, there you heard it. Just like in The Last of Us, the fungal spores affect the nervous system, turning the people into zombies. Now, with all fungus and mold infections, the only way to finally kill it, once the infection has begun, is with fire. Watch.
It's not him I'm trying to kill.
When the fungus shed its spores, everyone was at ground zero except for Trepkos.
She was infected. I don't know how.
Erickson was the original host.
Now, this is another TV series called Servant. And once again, the fungus mold theme continues. Completely separate TV show. This one just released, this episode of Servant. And let's watch this here. This character sees mold before losing his ability to speak. Watch.
How do you sleep?
You can't talk? What's happening?
He says, did Leanne do this? Now, Leanne is basically the servant in this series. Leanne is the servant. She's the nanny, the girl you just saw earlier. And she's able to like place curses on people. So one of those curses apparently is the mold. This is unbelievable. Now this is the mother in the house, and you're going to hear her use the expression that we all know, finding a needle in a haystack. But listen to what the girl says here.
It's like finding a needle in a haystack. It's a funny expression. Doesn't seem like it'd be a very hard thing to do.
Now, what is she talking about here? Doesn't seem like it would be a very hard thing to do, she says, right? Let's go into the chat and see who gets this riddle. Why is it easy to find a needle in a haystack? And then I'll see what you guys say, and then we'll continue on with this decode. Let's see who gets it. Why is it easy to find a needle in a haystack? All right, let's see here. Poked, says Eileen. It's metal and hay. Magnetic. Let's see who gets it. Tip of the spear. You guys are getting close. Think of what a piece of hay looks like. I'll give you a clue. Why is it easy to find a needle in a haystack? Okay, let's see who gets it. Someone will get it. Straw. Eileen is close. Yes. Keep going. What is straw? No, it is easy. Now, once I tell you the answer, you're going to understand. What is the basic shape of a piece of straw? Needle versus tube. Genesis is almost right over the target. Okay, so let me give you the answer. This one's a little bit deeper. Now, this series, Servant, is 2 or 3 levels deep, okay? In terms of the advanced level of decoding that you have to do. I've found myself stopped in my tracks a couple times. Yes, Jamie, it is hollow. Hay basically is a hollow needle. It's a hollow reed. So every piece of hay is a needle in a haystack. Right? Now, only those in the know and occultists or people like us who are awake can figure this out. Because essentially what this is it's ancient knowledge. Remember Artemis's nymph. Artemis was the twin sister of Apollo. Artemis' nymph was named Syrinx. She was turned into a sea of reeds, sea of hollow reeds in a swamp. And the word syringe came directly from the name Syrinx. Pan, the god of the forest, then harvested those reeds to form his pan pipes. So injection and sound frequencies go hand in hand. Syrinxes, hollow needles, and pants flutes. Injections and 5G. So you see how buried that truth was. It was buried very far. Like, I had to think about that for a minute. Why would it be easy to find a needle in a haystack? Because the whole haystack is full of needles. You just pick one up and you found the needle in the haystack. Unreal. Now, let's keep going with this. Now, everything that I just said about Artemis and Pan, you can look all that up on your own. You just go to, it's all ancient mythology. It's well known. It's already been established. I'm not making any of that up. So let's keep going with this. Now, this is the husband. And remember in the last decode we did of this series where Leanne, the nanny, basically stops that in-home care nurse in her tracks just by looking at her? She like froze her in her tracks right before the in-home care nurse was trying to kill Leanne. And we saw the nurse swell up and then like pass out. Well, listen to this part.
The woman nearly died. The way her face looked, I've never seen anything like it. How do you explain that?
She'd suffered a snake bite, but is well on her way to a full recovery. Discoloration of the face and limbs.
Now, as they talk about the snake bite, obviously the nurse was not bitten by the snake. She was killed, or I think she's still alive, but she was hurt by Leanne, the nanny. But remember we talked about this, and I told you this, all this blue that you're seeing here, and the snake, that this was all about the bite. We all know what the bite is. The bite of the needle. The fangs of the snake. But listen to what he says next.
Laura Grayson.
Actually, no. So, we'll get into that part in a second. But understand that this snake bite has an effect on people. She swole up and collapsed, even though she wasn't really bitten by a snake. They're saying that she was, right? Now, the family keeps digging into the nanny's past because they're trying to figure out why the nanny is stalking them and won't let them just go on with their lives. And so they find out that the nanny's mother was named Grayson. Watch.
Laura Grayson. Looks like she had trouble with liquor. There's a DUI in 2005.
When she was angry.
So, Grayson. That reminds me of the gray alien. Right? Why would her mother be named Grayson?
With me.
Taste and feeling can be lost.
When she was angry with me.
Taste and feeling can be lost temporarily during a common cold or in the presence of certain drugs.
So, then he talks about losing his taste and smell. Now, many of us lost our taste and smell after we got the flu, didn't we? We confirmed that. Myself included. But he says something about it maybe being in the food.
When I first arrived, I lost my ability to feel and taste.
It is possible she was putting something in your food to make you believe you were being punished.
So this is weird, right? So I was digging into this, and I'm like, what is this about? Well, lo and behold. Remember from the X-Files episode, hydrogen sulfide? Well, guess what? It causes the loss of smell. Let me find it on this page here. This is crazy. When you first smell hydrogen sulfide, it smells like rotten eggs. And then it quickly deadens the sense of smell, creating temporary anosmia, which is the loss of smell. And for this reason, people who get poisoned by hydrogen sulfide, it's because they can't smell it anymore. And they end up succumbing to the higher doses because they can't smell it anymore. The olfactory nerve is paralyzed. You guys, there's something to this. There's a reason why those of us who got the flu cannot smell. My smell has never returned the same. It's been 2 years since I got the flu, and I can't still smell right. Some things smell different. Some things smell weird. I can't explain it. Many of you experience the same thing. No one is making all of this up. It actually happened to some people. This is why we're trying to figure out what is going on with this. So you lose your sense of smell, often together with awareness of danger. And then at higher doses, it can cause miscarriage. Is there a connection here? I don't know. But this is really weird. Miscarriage. Now, let me find that on this page so you guys can see this. Increased miscarriage and reproductive health issues among Russian and Finnish wood pulp workers. And that was a result of long-term low-level exposure. No, wait, that's a result of chronic exposure to low-level hydrogen sulfide. Anyway, I'll keep going with this Servant series as well as The Last of Us. I'll keep you guys updated on this.
I kept finding splinters everywhere, like the house was attacking me.
And so that's what's going on with that. Now, tomorrow, I decoded the film Ultraviolet. This will be tomorrow's show. And I found this U2 Bono vampire connection. Now, what gave it away? Well, it was the sunglasses in the movie Ultraviolet, as well as the sphere. Here's the sphere in Ultraviolet. And as you can see, it has this cross lattice structure, this matrix structure around the sphere. This is Mila Jovovich standing in front of 700 soldiers that are standing in front of the same sphere. She battles this guy named Daxus. This is Bono in a Polaroid that he took himself wearing fangs that they turned into a clock, which they called a vampire clock, as you can see right here. And of course, we know that Bono dresses up as Mephisto, the devil. And they are performing in a few short weeks a concert series at the Sphere in Vegas. The concert series is called U2 UV Ultraviolet, after one of their songs. This Sphere in Vegas has the very same exact lattice work as the sphere on inside the movie Ultraviolet. So there's something to see here. Many of you also mentioned the katana sword. Still haven't gotten to the bottom of the symbolism of the katana sword yet. So I'll need your guys' help on that one. But wow, what a matrix we live in, right? So we'll break all that down in full tomorrow. Tomorrow's show is going to be very detailed, with lots and lots of revelations. So I hope you guys can tune in for that. Let's go into the chat for a bit. It's kind of a short show today. See what you guys are up to. Yes, Bono actually has a condition called glaucoma. He is sensitive to light. And all of that appears in the Ultraviolet film as it's basically a film about vampires, and they're all sensitive to light. All right. Have you seen the New York fashion show called Satan's Debut to Valentine's Day of the Flesh? Oh, wow. Yeah, they're not even hiding anymore, you guys. They're not even hiding it. It's basically Satanism in plain sight. Now, there's something different about Bono's glasses that is different than regular sunglasses. They have like a light, I guess, I don't know what you call it. Sometimes he wears rose-colored glasses. Other times the glasses are like this color, like this orangish color. But we're going to break all that down tomorrow. Yes, the cat is out of the bag. Now, I was thinking about this. I was like, who is the Antichrist going to be? Who is this person that's going to emerge? I know you guys always ask me if it's specific people. And I'm like, I don't know. You know, that's something I'm not going to try to guess on. I can tell you that there's an Antichrist spirit out there. And that there are people that channel the Antichrist spirit before the real Antichrist gets here. And then I started thinking about certain things like, what if the Antichrist is going to be one of these actors or musicians or sports legends? That would be the kind of person that would be loved by all, right? Like a person like a Bono from U2. Really, no one has anything to say bad about Bono. Bono's name actually means good. And I think how a person like that could really deceive the world through music. Think about it. The devil was the music angel, wasn't he? And how do they get us to be endeared to them? Through music. You guys, some of the most vicious battles I've had with people on YouTube when I decode them is through music people. People of, music artists. People will defend these people to the death. They're like, don't say anything bad about Prince. Don't say anything bad about Michael Jackson. Okay, it is because they're under the music spell and the abilities. I was watching some Michael Jackson stuff on the feed last night. And I was like, man, he was a magician. He was a magician on stage. And if you look back, I like to look back at vintage stuff because you can really see what's going on. How is it that we were all deceived for the last 30 years? Watching these people on stage, and not one of us realized that every single time a person was singing and dancing on stage, that they were lip syncing their own track? How did it take us 30 years to realize this? How did it take us up to Milli Vanilli to finally realize that these people were lip syncing their own tracks? You can't sing and dance at the same time without being out of breath. Right? So I'm watching Michael Jackson lip syncing to himself, and I'm like, look, if you look closely, you can see. That's a magic trick, you guys. That's magic. I also realized, even all the way down to his costume, was carefully crafted. His skinny legs inside of the oversized pants, the white socks and how they contrasted with the pants and the high water pants so that you could see the movement of his feet more clearly from the crowd. You guys, this is high level sorcery. Like someone literally crafted all of that. Yes, lying wonders. And when he would do the backslide, I was like, whoa, that is deep. And all this was like revealed to me last night. God was like, take a closer look. There's real visual sorcery going on here. So I'm thinking to myself, who is the Antichrist going to be? It might be someone who can sing, who can perform wonders, who everybody loves. Could it be Bono from U2? Could it be a Michael Jackson resurrected or someone that looks just like him? Could it be a Michael Jordan, who everybody loves? Could it be one of these magicians? And I would say the likelihood of this person having the ability to sing or perform some kind of miracle, which we've already seen happen in sports and music, that would be a likely candidate for the Antichrist. Yes, some say Elvis. I agree. That could be something as well. This is why they keep his name at the top of the trending list, right? So, weird times, you guys. Weird times, right? All right. So, big red flags. Big red flags when you hear people defending these people. Huge red flags. I'll leave you with this. This image of Bono, dressed as Mephisto. There's no way that this guy is a good person. Zero. He's part of it. So, now, yeah, there's a train movie with Denzel Washington called Unstoppable. And I thought, sure, we decoded that. I was like, whoa, I'm having a Mandela moment. I look back, I could not find our decode on Unstoppable, which is about a train derailment. Do you guys remember us doing that decode? I thought, sure, we decoded that. That was Bono from U2, dressed as Mephisto. That's who that was. All right. Some of you remember. Ain't Buying It remembers. Yeah, I thought, sure, we looked at like the train numbers and we were decoding that. I don't know. Eileen kind of remembers. I cannot find that video. Crazy, right? All right, you guys. Well, I love each and every one of you, and I'll see you tomorrow. Let's decode Ultraviolet. Take care and be safe.